town where the news is small, but the price profound. Grab a coffee, sit back. It's all going down. Great American Little Town.
All right, welcome everybody. Want to welcome all our viewers tonight to the Great American Little Town podcast. I'm your host, Sean Farmer. I am here with my wonderful guest host. I put the word wonderful in there because sometimes he feels not appreciated. Yeah. Mr. Dan Denier.
You should put that in every week. That's me.
Yeah, the show wouldn't be the same without Dan. It would still go on. The show would go on, but it just wouldn't be the same.
Mm-hmm.
We have a great guest tonight, Miss Lindsay Ortez.
Hello.
And we'll be talking to Lindsay here in a little bit about her great little store that she just opened up here in Galt, small business owner. We love small businesses in Galt. As you know, we have a bunch of them that are sponsors of ours. So thank you to our sponsors. We'll give all you all a shout out here soon. But before that, just want to say today is what is the date today? The 28th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Today is the 28th, January. Time is flying. Happy New Year for any of you that haven't tuned in before now.
40 years ago today. Do you know what happened?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about feeling old?
Right. I know. 40 years.
40 years ago. I remember.
So thanks everybody who's tuning in tonight who may have never watched our show, but maybe we got some new viewers because Lindsay's here. So we always hope that viewers bring new viewers or guests bring new viewers, I should say. So I feel like that's the case with you guys. So hopefully you guys will watch us after today, even if you're just here for Lindsay to support her.
Hi, Debbie.
Hello to Debbie in North Dakota.
And hi, Dad, if he's watching.
Yeah. Shout out to Pops Denier. I know he's been in has some little couple of health issues, so hope he's feeling good. We miss you, Harry. We miss your poker skills.
Yeah.
Miss you taking off. Although I feel like I haven't lost as much money since you haven't been playing with us. So thank you for that.
Hi, Hazel. I always got to say hi to Hazel too. She loves it when you give Hazel a shout out. That's my great niece.
Oh yeah.
She's 4.
Yeah. So
by the way, that's a great new entrance. I like that.
Oh yeah. If you haven't noticed, we edited our entry song. So this is a new song we have. We actually play it as we exit the air. But I decided to play it a little bit on the entry because it's so cool. So if you want to hear the whole thing in full length, make sure you stay till the end of the show, and it'll play in its entirety. It's a really cool song. It's only about 2 minutes, but
yeah,
cool.
I like that.
Yeah. So so what's going on in the world today? We got so as you mentioned, Dan, 40 years ago today was the Challenger space shuttle disaster.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that today. So Dan, do you remember where you were at when that happened?
I was at school at Fairsight. And I would think I was in 6th grade. But maybe 5th grade.
I think that you had to be at least 6 because I was in the 8th grade.
Okay,
so you're only
6,
like a year behind. You're 2 years,
mm-hmm.
6. Yeah.
But we weren't watching it. Like a lot of those kids, they had TVs set up in their classroom because obviously the teacher was on the on the thing.
Krista
but
McAuliffe.
We weren't watching it. But I remember that the secretary at the secretary at the school put the news over the PA system.
Yeah,
when it happened. And so I remember just sitting in class and listening as they're talking about it, how it blew up, and yeah.
So I'm not. I know it might be awkward. I don't want to date you, but because I forgot how old you are. But
42.
Okay, so you weren't around in 86.
No.
All right.
Well,
so
3 years old in 86.
Okay, so you were 3. All right. Well, us old people over here. Yeah.
But it's probably one of the first events in my life that I remember where I was. Or vaguely remember, you remember the event,
right? It's like a JFK moment for like our parents' generation. It's like a Pearl Harbor moment for like our grandparents.
But I think for kids, those of us who were kids then, in grade school and stuff at the time, I think because it was such hype about the fact that they were doing they were taking a teacher to space, and there was so much hype built up about that that it made it even more newsworthy, and I don't know. I think more schools were watching and more kids were involved with it at that time. And I think that's part of why we all remember it so much more.
I think it was, like I said, I remember I used to talk to my mom, what was it? Because she was in elementary school when JFK got shot, and that was big news. And she said what's crazy about that is it might have been this way with the Challenger thing too, but she said everybody was crying in the class and stuff. It's a big deal. This was back when this is back when everybody liked the president. Now I don't think we have presidents in modern times that everybody likes. People either like him or they don't. But back then, generally speaking, everybody liked the president. But I remember I was in 8th grade, and they had wheeled the they wheeled the TV in on the shot on the little cart. You know, they had like the TV, it's got like a strap over it, like at the VCR. This is old school. They wheel it in, and we were gonna watch, you know, the liftoff because there was teacher. You know, that's why it was a big deal, because there was a teacher going to space.
Right.
So all the teachers were so excited because one of their own, you know, was going to go to space. And then I remember watching it, and I remember when it blew up, nobody kind of really knew. You're watching it, and you don't really know exactly what that was. You're like, I still see a rocket going like this, and
Right.
and then like everybody was kind of like, and then the teachers were kind of like, not really sure what happened. And it was like the teachers were shocked, and they didn't know what to say to us kids about what happened. And even the commentators, you know, if you watch it back, like Mission Control was like, looks like we had a malfunction. They weren't like, everybody wasn't like, big guy, oh no. And that's not how Mission Control reacted. They were just like, yeah, think something went wrong here. We're checking to see if something went wrong. And we're like, yeah, something went big time wrong. But anyways, yeah, I remember it vividly.
Have you ever gone back and watched Reagan's address to the nation?
Yeah,
that
I
night
did today.
afterwards.
I did today. I watched it back.
I mean,
Yeah. Well,
it
Reagan was
almost
a great
like-
president, though.
Oh,
Let's
he was,
just say.
he was a great auditor, but like just the way it was almost like he gave the nation a hug that night.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
it was
like,
really something.
again, we don't usually talk a lot of politics on the show, and so, but I would have to say, just because you mentioned it, and I'm just saying this because, but Reagan, even though his ratings and stuff at the time, Reagan was like, in retrospect, Reagan was a great president.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they did like a poll who's the best president, and he was like way up there, like way up there. So, anyways, yeah, 40 years, Jesus, where does the time go?
Yeah.
Where does it go? So something else was going on. I think I had some notes. There was something else big that happened. So this is more local, but you seen that they're tearing down the Sunset Cinema today.
I did. I saw that started
That's
today.
super sad.
Yeah.
You know, that was where I went on my first date with my wife.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. We went. Funny story. So we went to see Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone, like the rock mountain climbing movie. Yeah. Again, yeah, I'm old. So what? Okay. All right. So, anyways, we went to.
You were probably 6 when he took her on the date. So
Yeah. So we went. But we actually didn't see the whole movie because we went to see it, and something happened with the car. Like something happened with the starter of my car or whatever, and so we're like. It's like the solenoid. I don't know if you know about cars, but the solenoid like burned up or something. So I was like, if I turn this off, we're not getting home because it will have to get towed. It won't restart.
Yeah.
And we're like, shoot. So we didn't go in the movie. We ended up driving back to my house, and we ended up watching something on VHS tape or something. But yeah, but we did go there, and that was the plan.
I was thinking about that today as I saw the post where they're demolishing it. But I thought, how many years has it been closed? Like it opened in 1950.
Yeah.
But how many years has it actually been closed?
Many.
I mean,
years.
it's got to be over 25 years it's been closed.
I saw it said about 20 years. Yeah.
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 So
Did you see that picture that Dan Ternaski posted today where he rejuvenized the lid up? But there was so many. It was crazy. I was, they posted that on one of the Lodi groups, right? Talking about, oh my god, and there was like hundreds and hundreds of comments. Oh my god, I went there with my wife as we were. There's so many memories. It's really sad to see that and think that they couldn't save it as something.
Yeah.
I feel like there's. I don't know.
I would have liked to seen them save it and revitalize the building, but at the same time, like when I was in school, when we were in high school, you had the 3 cinemas and you had Arbor, Valley, and Sunset. And you went to the whatever theater was showing the movie that you wanted to see. That's
right.
But if you were just going to go to the movies, you'd usually go to the Valley one because that was the newer one.
Yeah, that's where
And Sunset was always kind of the we'll go if there's a movie I want to see.
So did you know that Amy, my sister-in-law, worked there?
Oh, really?
Yeah, she worked at she used to let us in occasionally for like maybe for free or maybe for a discount. I don't know, but yeah, she worked there for a while at Sunset Cinema.
Someone had bought it recently and attempted some renovations on it, and then something fell through.
Right.
I don't know what it was, but
Right.
I remember during that time I saw them share some like inside photos on Facebook. And
it's a Lodi icon for
Yeah.
sure. It really is. But what's interesting? You mentioned that down about the 3 theaters. You're right. There was Arbor, and there was a girl I dated who worked at the Arbor one, so we would get in free. I had connections all over town. I get free movies.
We all
wherever.
did. We all knew everybody that worked there.
But Valley Cinema was the first walk-in movie I ever went to as a kid. Because when I was young, again, we're going back light years. Drive-ins was still like a big thing, right? And so the walk-in theater was still kind of a new concept. So there was the first movie we went and saw. It was in 1980. I was 8 years old. We went and saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, the very first Indiana Jones movie. And I didn't even know what it was. My dad's like, "Oh, this movie's gonna be cool," and I'm like, "What's this movie about?" When you're 8, you know,
But
but
you know, you think about it back when we were kids. So Lodi had 3 movie theaters.
right.
Like you don't have the one big megaplex with
Yeah.
12 screens or 16 screens or whatever that they have now.
So now you know that all these people in Galt are like, we need a movie theater again. We need a bowling alley. You know,
Mhm.
we're talking about that. Here we are, Lodi, which
Mhm.
is a huge city now, 60,000, 70,000 actually. They have one theater. They used to have 3 theaters.
Right, yeah.
So that shows you the business plan of a theater. It's not movie theaters are not once what they were, you know,
Right.
with Netflix and everything online. And
Valley
stuff.
Theater used to have 2 screens. And then even when they were still open, they split one of the screens. So you had 3 screens.
Oh,
Did you
really?
know that?
No, I
Remember
didn't know that.
They had 2 screens, 2 big screens. They split one so that they could have a third theater, but in order to do it, they had to have the smaller screens.
So do you remember when you went to the movies? It wasn't just one movie, it was 2 movies. There was always 2 movies. There was the main and
I remember the drive-ins were like that.
I even at the walk-ins, there was 2 movies when I used to go. It was
Yeah.
always this, and then there was the underling movie. And then Valley, the one we were just talking about, that place was so timeless because you go in there and it had the big posters of like had a pictures of like old movie actors, like it had like, you know, Errol Flynn over here, and it had like, you know, there were always like action actors. You remember those big black and white
Yeah.
posters that were in there? It was just such
You
a
remember
cool
how you
place.
used to find out what was playing?
You called.
You called. And you got a voice recording. It was an answering machine.
Yeah, so
and it
you're
would
like
tell
this.
you-
So you're like this on the phone, and
And
you're
you're
like,
listening, and you're having to write down, okay, this one's playing at
Yeah,
7,
yeah.
9, 10:30. Like,
Yeah, you're like, shh, quiet, it's
oh,
coming
I
up, it's
missed
coming
what
up.
time that was playing. You got to wait.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, quiet, wait, here it is. Oh, I missed it. Wait, does it say fire? Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you had to get there, you know, and you had to like, you know, find a seat. It's so different now. I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
but whatever. But movies now is more about, it's not going out and seeing a movie. It's totally a social experience. People are going to movies because it's a way to get out of the house, like going out to dinner, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And I do think that a movie, even though you have technology like Netflix and Amazon and all these streaming stuff, whatever, I do think that a movie theater is still a valid. It's not what it once was, but I do think it's something that would. I think if Galt had a movie theater, now again, I doubt that anybody will ever take the gamble to open one, just the cost of it, right? But I do think that if it had one, that I think it could survive.
Yeah.
But I just don't think anybody's going to roll that dice.
No,
It's
they're
just
expensive now, though. That's
Yeah.
part of the other problem. It's just so expensive.
look
to
at the
go.
bowling alley. Do you think Dan? Do you think that someone will ever open a bowling alley in Galt again?
Mhm.
You don't think
Not
so?
in my lifetime, no.
And why do you say that? Because bowling is a much bigger deal now than it was
Just
back
to
then.
build it, you're looking at about $5 million.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And how do you recoup an investment on that unless you have, you know, you'd have to have 3 or 4 restaurants inside. You'd
Right.
have to, like, it would have to be a complex that has
Yeah,
so many other things going on with it to try to
Do you
recoup
ever-
that money.
Lindsay, do you ever bowl at all? Ever go bowling ever?
I do
Yeah?
every now and then. Yeah.
Now and then, just like it's
I
just-
like an
just like a f-
old school
Right.
bowling alley versus
Yeah.
a new flashy one. Like,
Mhm.
give me
You know
some-
what I always think when I go into the bowling alley is like, all these years and these damn shoes are still the shittiest ones.
Yeah.
Pardon my language, but yeah, these things, the most uncomfortable shoes they ever. Can we get new shoes,
They
people? For
are.
what? I mean, come on, it's 2026. Yeah. Somebody, Jennifer P 4809 said, "You look gorgeous, Lindsay."
Thank you, Jenny.
So do you know who that is?
I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
It's hard
we're
to tell with the
everybody's in
names.
code up here.
Yeah.
We can't see. Yeah. So, anyways, good. That was a good walk down memory lane about the movies. So, do you know the Galt movie theater opened? What's funny is the Galt. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Galt movie theater opened
Mhm.
almost the same time as the Sunset, almost the same year.
Mhm.
The Sunset opened in 1950,
Mhm.
and the one in Galt opened in 1951. Isn't that crazy that that was like a thing? I mean, movie theaters was like a big deal then.
But the other thing too that people have to realize is that when they were opening things like the Galt Theater, you know, the Galt Bowling Alley, things like that, people didn't go to Lodi for stuff. They didn't go to Elk Grove for stuff. Like communities stayed within their communities more, right?
Yeah.
You might go to your neighbor's house and play cards or for a dinner or something,
Mhm.
but like people didn't really go out of town. To go out of town, even to go from here to Sacramento or to go from here to Woodland
a
back
big
in the
deal.
50s or 60s was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And so that was part of why a lot of small communities had bowling alleys and movie theaters and things like that built, was because it was all about, you know, the town
Yeah.
itself. And, you know, now, of course, if you want to go to the movies, you go to Elk Grove, Lodi, you know,
Well, to be honest with you, but we talked about this in the last show when we talked about the movie theater, right?
unless you're Sean and you don't leave Galt. So
Hey, you know what? Speaking of that, I have to tell you. So I know this is embarrassing, but I just now got my passport for the first time in my life.
Oh my goodness.
55 years old, finally got a passport.
Have you used it? Have you gone anywhere?
No, I haven't got it yet. I'm waiting for it to come, but I went and paid for it, and
Did
it's
you
on
get
the way.
it for a purpose?
I did because there's possibly something I'm looking at buying a vehicle. It's up north in Canada, so the arrangement would be I have to go in there and get it. But I've been wanting to get it for a while, so that was just a reason to get it. So I get it, right, and so it's kind of exciting because I've longed to travel to certain places. My daughter over here sitting off screen has been to like all of Europe. She's been to like Japan, she's been to like the how many countries have you been to? Canada, Mexico, all that, right? Yeah. See, I mean, she's like, yeah, of course, Dad. Anyways, so she's been everywhere, right? And I'm just like a homebody. But I got the coolest. I got Chinese food last night. Galt Super. Shout out to Galt Supermarket, best Chinese food in town, by the way. I got my fortune cookie, and it said, you will be traveling to exotic places over the next few years. That's an awesome. That is when you just got a passport. That is a great fortune, right?
Have you been?
The
other countries and stuff?
I've been to Mexico. Only Mexico, honestly.
Oh,
the country.
so you're not really far behind me. That's like one.
Yeah.
I know people that like. I was sitting at the coffee shop the other day, and there was a group of like 7 or 8 guys, and they're all older guys or veterans, retired. Well, Brian's my age, but he was in the army, so he was all over. And we're like, how many countries you've been to? Oh man, well, I've been to Asia, I've been there, wherever. And like the smallest number out of the whole group was like 12 countries.
Wow.
Some of them were like, like Aaron, Aaron that's out here from Florida. He's like, oh my God, man. Like we were talking about Challenger. He's like, yeah, when the Challenger blew up, I was in Fiji surfing. He's like, I didn't even know it blew up till I saw it on the front of the newspaper. I just saw the picture and I'm like, what the heck happened? That was 4 days ago. Oh, I mean, this guy, he travels everywhere. He's 67 years old, travels all over the place. He's a retired fireman, but he's a surfing, like he looks like an old surfer, like when you see him. And he just travels around. He has a van. He'll go down to Mexico with like his boards in his van, just go surfing.
That's
Super cool.
life.
I know,
Life.
right?
How do they afford to live that life?
Well, he's
Right.
bought some properties, and I think he's got some revenue coming from that stuff that keeps him. But he actually is traveling right now. He left today to go up to going to go up and go over to Mendocino to a bed and breakfast, but he's going to hit a couple campgrounds that I told him about on Highway 36. And he's going to, we're going to try to stay at that one. Looks really cool. And then we're going to kind of meander down to Fort Bragg and kind of, he's just a Rolling Stone. It's pretty cool. He's got a lady friend that flew out from Florida though. So his friend that was flying out from Florida, her flight got delayed yesterday because it's like a total mess in the Midwest right now because of flights. And she was on hold for 5 hours trying to get her flight straightened out and get another flight. And then she couldn't get her return flight. Now, this was yesterday. They said, well, wait a few days and some flights will reopen up or whatever. But as of yesterday, the soonest return flight that she could book wasn't until March.
Oh my gosh.
Like, she's like, I can't wait till March to go home. That's crazy because they're canceling like 15,000 flights. And then just like a domino effect, when you can't fly into Dallas, then it's just like a domino and it's just a mess, right? Because all the ice storms and everything.
It's wild.
Yeah. Anyway, so anything else?
You didn't do the legal.
Oh, the legal thing. Yeah, we do this thing.
We gotta
All
do
right.
this every show.
Yeah. And we don't have to, I guess.
Well,
I just want to remind everybody the Great American Little Town podcast is an independent podcast. We are not associated with the city of Galt. The reason we say this every show is because of my role with the city and Dan's, on the planning commission. So we are involved with city commissions and things, but this is not a reflection of the city. We are not a spokesperson for the city, and the statements and things we talk about on the show are not condoned by the city, and we're not a spokesperson for the city. I think I just said that, but you get the point, right?
Yeah.
So
good enough.
Good enough for who it's for. So I think we'll get on to our main show. We're going to have our sports scores and stuff after Lindsay leaves in a little while. We're going to do on our second half of the show. We're going to do sports scores and we're going to do some other stuff. But we have some community events I want to mention real quick before we get to Lindsay. So Kaylin, our technical expert behind the scenes, is going to tee up a flyer, and then we're going to talk to you guys about some cool stuff. So first is this. This is January the 30th. So this is the day after tomorrow. We're going to have Coffee and Community at the Coffee Shop Bakery. This is hosted by the Chamber of Commerce and the Coffee Shop Bakery. We're going to have Senator Roger Nilo. Everybody remember Senator Nilo was on our podcast. Super cool guy.
Have you met him yet?
No, I have not.
He's a good
You should
guy.
go meet him. He's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, all
Super
politics
business
aside,
friendly
he's
and-
really good. So he's from the Nilo family that own the car lots and things. But anyway, super cool guy, goes to bat for Galt. He's actually right now trying to really fight for us to get some improvements on the Highway 99. He's been really putting the hammer down with Caltrans from what I hear through the rumor mill that they need to be acting quicker. So
He's been in business a long, long time though, so he's very business friendly.
Yeah. So if you want to show up and just chat with Rhett, it's gonna be very informal. Like you just show up, have a coffee, ask a question, just a real low key dialogue. It's gonna start at 10 a.m. Probably run for probably a couple hours, maybe, at the Coffee Shop Bakery at 10 o'clock on Friday. And then next up, we have the Under the Sea dance. This was something that Loretta, the AKA Cookie Pusher, Loretta from that's our Girl Scout, call it the Cookie Pusher. She brought this to our attention. It's Under the Sea, January 31st. That's this weekend at Vernon Greer. This is like it's a father-daughter dance kind of thing. So if you want to go, that sounds awesome. So you can scan the QR. We have that up, or you can go to, you can email at the bottom of the screen there, gsttroop3845@gmail.com. Again, sounds really fun. So if you have a young daughter and you want to take it to a cool dance, this reminds me of the Back to the Future. Remember the Under the Sea dance? This is where he kissed her for the first time at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. Yeah, anyways, I just dated myself again. All right. Next event we have is, I think we have a crab feed of some sort. Oh, yeah, Night to Shine. Big deal. This is important that we share this again. So Night to Shine, if people don't know what this is the Tim Tebow Foundation. Tim Tebow is the quarterback. He started this. This is like a prom event for special needs kids that didn't get like a formal prom. This happens simultaneously all across the country at hundreds and hundreds of different locations and schools. They started doing it at Galt High last year. So it's the first time for our area. This is not just a Galt thing. This is a nationwide thing, but they're doing it in Galt for only the second time this year. Last year was the first. And they need buddies. So buddies are like chaperones. So they're looking for adult males, or I don't know, I think you just have to be over 18 to come be a chaperone. We call it a buddy, and be the escort to one of the special needs persons. They have over 250 honored guests. Those are the special needs. And they're short. Last time I heard they were still short, like 30 or 40 people. We really, and this is coming up really quick, we really need people to sign up. I was going to see if Galt PD.
Do men and women volunteer to chaperone? Or
that's a great question. I think so.
Right?
I do. I think it could
right?
be anybody. Yep. So. It is. It's not just a male. It can be because I think they do pair male with female.
Right.
Actually, I'm not even sure if they do that, because I think last time we had a lady who, so I could be wrong on that. But anyways, they're looking for male, female.
But volunteers. It's just a volunteer thing. You dress up. It is, I'm telling you, I went last year for the first time. It was super. These kids know how to party. They have a phenomenal time. And this is like a massive event. They literally have a line of limos that line up. It takes like 2 hours just to pick everybody up because the limos come in. And then when you get to the school, they have a red carpet and they have everybody's name. So when you get out of the limo, they already know who it's going to be. And they have people like red carpet down with signs, and they're like cheering for you. It's super cool. So it's awesome. It's overwhelming really, but it's really cool. So please, if you want to do something great in the community, sign up for this. Horizon Church is hosting it. You can contact them. You can Google Night to Shine, look up Horizon Church online. I'm sure you can find it easily, but please sign up. You will not regret it. I promise you. What do we have next, Kellen? All right, then we have Galentine's Market. So we shared this last week, and I didn't know what it was about, but this is a kind of like a little market that's kind of geared towards women. So it's gonna be at Papa's and Wings. They're gonna have all kinds of cool like vendors and stuff, and it's all geared towards things that ladies are into. And it's on the 13th at Papa's and Wings. Wine tasting, appetizers, swag bag.
Yep, and all kinds of cool vendors sharing all kinds of cool stuff that I can't remember some.
I might have to put on my wig and go.
Yeah, you should, Dan. You can get it. I think they're gonna have like people doing. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't want to say for sure as well, but the things that were mentioned to me, it sounded really cool, and they're really pumping this thing pretty big. So, 13th, sponsored by the Chamber, Frontier Lube, and then we have a crab feed for Liberty Ranch FFA. Are you go to crab feeds? You like crab?
I do go to crab
YouTube
feeds,
people.
and my oldest is involved in FFA.
So, yeah,
is that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
cool.
she shows
Nice.
lambs.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big crab. I like seafood. I just don't like crab. I'm not a big crab person. So it blew my mind the first time I went. They're like, well, they have steak, so you could go and eat something else. I'm like, fine. So I go. They bring these trays of crab, and people have their little plastic bibs on, and they have their little saucer. The people crazy to bring their own butter.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, here it comes. Oh, and it's like they're like beating on the table with their silverware. It's like you think that they're bringing plates of like gold bars or something. People get so freaking excited about it. I don't know, guy. I just don't get it. Sorry, but February 14th, 6 to 11, come support Liberty Ranch FFA. These are all great causes in the community. You
and,
can get.
and if you don't already have plans for Valentine's Day, this would be a great place to take.
That's
your-
right. Yeah, and they're gonna have pasta. If you're
significant
not a
other
crab
and-
person like me, you can get pasta. You have other stuff. Anyways, and this is at the Littleton Center, where if I had a nickel for every crab feed the Littleton Center probably hosted in the last since its
well,
existence.
That's what I was thinking. Is crab feeds have been huge fundraisers for the city of Galt for different
Forever.
groups and events
forever.
for as long as I remember. I mean, I can remember as a little kid, my parents going to crab feeds at the Littleton Center. So it's always been an important part of Galt.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Next event, we have a chili cook-off. This was shared to me today. Somebody asked me to share this, so here you go. Harold Community Club chili cook-off. If you think you got what it takes to win this, and you got a great chili recipe, show up. It's hosted at Champagne Ranch from 11 to 2. That's Champagne Ranch is a great venue out in Harold off Borden Road.
Great.
And
venue.
and they got a QR code there if you want to either participate or you want to just come and enjoy the chili.
Real quick, what kind of bread would you suggest going with chili?
I have a lot of people take roasted garlic.
Oh,
Jalapeno cheese is
Huh.
really bomb with chili.
Yeah?
Yeah.
really bomb with chili. You ready? There you go.
They kind of go together, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
See?
Huh. So if you have questions about this, contact Carissa at the bottom. There's a phone number there, 916-926-2008. So sounds like a cool event. Next I think we have a couple more. Do we want to share for people? Oh, that's it. All right. Well, that's the
Good.
ones we got. So again, if you have an event, your fundraiser, or it's just whatever, it doesn't matter. If it's something in the community or in our area here, and you want us to share it on the show and talk about it, send us an email, greatamericanlittletown@gmail.com. Send us the flyer. I'll post it up on the thing. You can message us on Instagram through our Instagram page. Send us it that way. So, yeah. So,
let's get into this because we got snacks here to.
we got snacks.
Yeah.
Lindsay brought us
Yeah, we
snacks.
got
I
samples
brought
here
you
to
some
try.
good-
So to reintroduce our guest, and so Lindsay is the new owner of the Wild Heart Bakery in Old Town. You are at 411. I always remember the address. You don't know why? Because when we had our coffee shop there, we used to say, "Come down and get the 411 at the coffee shop."
That's clever.
Yeah, I know. It's clever. So she's at 411 C Street, where actually where Erica's Cookie formerly was. Erica's Cookie's still around. She just went back to doing home orders and things. Brick and mortar was a thing that didn't quite work out for her. But Lindsay's in that spot. So look, that place, I thought I did a great job building that place and making it look the way you did. Of course, we took a lot of our stuff out when we went, but that place looks phenomenal. We're
Right.
going to share some
Thank
photos here in a minute
you.
of your store. It is super
Yeah.
cool looking. I took some photos today. I want to share those. Kaylin's going to tee those up. So tell us about yourself, Lindsay. How are you from Galt? Not?
Not from Galt. I grew
Okay.
up in Lockford, so definitely
Okay.
grew up in a small town,
All
not
right.
far from here.
Smaller than Galt.
live in
A
Lo-
neighbor. It's okay.
Yeah,
Galt-ish?
small town rooted. Yeah, for sure.
But you're in Galt now.
What's that?
But you live in Galt now or no?
I actually live right by Wine and Roses, so not far. So
Okay.
it takes me 10 minutes to get here. So
Okay.
it's pretty quick shot. Yeah.
All right.
But I love Galt. I love a good small town. And a lot of my customers that I've had for the last couple years actually live in this area. So they were all super stoked to have
So let me
do-
ask you that because I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. So born and raised in Lockford, currently living in Lodi, obviously Lodi, Galt are pretty much sister cities. I'm in Lodi a lot. But why did you want to take a gamble with Galt? I mean, just playing devil's advocate here, you could have easily just said, well, you did have a place in Lodi, so you can talk about that in a minute. Why not? Do you think Lodi would be a bigger pool of customers and you have a bigger chance of successful? But you took a chance. But you, what did I do here? Hold that thought.
I can hear you. What are you hearing?
Hello?
We can hear you.
Hello? Sorry. Okay. I bumped something on my board. Don't whack the technological board with your hand. Okay. Sorry. So you took a gamble on Galt. You said, you know what? I'm going to open a place in Galt. So tell us about your place in Lodi and why.
So I was a girlfriend of mine owned Pop the Bubbly in downtown Lodi on School Street, and her and I built a relationship. I shared some kitchen space with her over there, and it just kind of exploded. I was there about 2 years, and then she sold her business
Oh.
and moved out of state and was considering purchasing it, running a restaurant. I'm also a photographer. I've been a photographer for 22 years, and I
Oh.
wasn't quite ready to give that up yet. It's a big part of my heart. But I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, shoot, what's the next thing? And then a girlfriend of mine, Jenna, she said, hey, come see this little spot here, and had an hour, ran over here and walked in, and it was, no lie, had full body chills. It was like, okay, this is and I'm looking around, and she's looking at me, and she's like, I can see the wheels in your head going. And it's, it's small, but it's cozy, and it was enough space for me to expand without being crazy overwhelmed.
Right.
And I love the small town feel. I love Galt. I love Old Town over there. It just
Old
kind of,
Town's
yeah,
awesome.
I love it.
Yeah,
So
is it hard to believe? Would you believe me if I told? Well, you may remember this, but when we grew up in Galt as kids, most of Old Town was all boarded up.
really,
Oh, like the Brewster restaurant, all that whole strip, that whole sidewalk was all boarded up buildings and stuff. There was something where our place is now. It's like it was many things, but I think at the time it was like a Mexican market.
Yeah. Mhm.
But most of the buildings down there were not. There was like a bar. I mean, it was not anything like it is now. It has came a long
they
ways.
brought it back to life. I love
What's
that.
funny is that space you mentioned, you like that space. You're like, it's great and small. It just made me think of how many businesses have gotten their start in that space. So I know that our coffee shop was in that
Yeah.
space when we opened. But did you know that way before that, like 15 years ago, that Heather actually had a bakery in that space?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
she started Something Sweet Bakery, which is now across the street.
Yes.
In that space, baking cakes and a lot of the recipes that we currently have at our coffee shop. My kids were very young then. It was just a lot of work, and we had another business. And so she sold that business, and they eventually moved across the street, and they rent from a space from Spawns, and they have a great space over there now. But then we had a deli in that spot. So C Street Deli started there, then moved around the corner, and then they actually moved that estate. But there's been a lot of people have gotten their start in that little space. It's a great little space.
It's got a lot of good energy.
It does. It's got a
I
good. It's a
love
good
it.
space. Pictures we're sharing. So if you're not familiar with the space, 411 C Street. It's right next to the Estrelita Ballroom. If you know where that is, right next to the barbershop.
Prior to opening this, were you doing like? Did you do any like how like the Galt Market has vendors out there and things like that?
Farmers Market in Lodi. So Pop the Bubbly is right there, Prime Central on School Street. And
Okay.
so I didn't really set up a booth. I just took over the patio essentially,
Nice.
which was an ideal situation. But yeah, I'm excited for market season for sure. We opened November 1st, 11/1. And that was the first day of the November market. So it was
Little busy.
grand opening day. And
Yeah.
then a market day was pretty wild. And then the following that, we go right into the parade. And so
Right,
November,
right.
December were insanely busy months. And we feel very blessed that it was.
You guys got a great. I love the artwork on the window. It's really
Thank
great. The
you.
place has a cute. You know what? I was surprised by how many plants you had in there when I came in there today. And I dig the succulents that you have in that little. So that planter box, I built that
Did you?
on the front there, and I was hoping it's kind of started falling into disrepair at one point, and I was hoping that somebody wouldn't just tear it off.
I
But
knew exactly what I was going to do when I saw it. I said,
the place is
we're
really
filling that
homey
up.
though. It feels really homey when you
Thank
go in there. For a
you.
small space, it still has a lot of energy.
I had a customer come in today and she's like, it's so cute in here. What would you call this style? Or what was your vision when you came in here? And I said, I kind of really wanted like an old general store type
Mhm.
of feel, that like speakeasy,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
old town type of
Oh,
vibe.
that counter would rock in like a speakeasy. So
Yeah.
what I loved about the space when we were there was the brick wall. And so when we got to the new space, I'm going to tell you, one of the negatives that we were on the fence about with the new space, we're like, you know what? There's no brick wall in here, but the walls are brick. They just had plaster on them. So one of the things we said, if we move to this new space, this is something we have to have. And the brick wall, at least one brick wall, was a non-negotiable
Yeah.
item. So we spent a ton of time air chiseling all the plaster off that wall
Wow.
that you see in our place, because the brick is just awesome.
Yeah,
There's so much
It
character
is.
there.
I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Yeah. And you did great with the shelves and all this stuff. I mean, just
Thank
the
you.
place is really cool. The counter is really super cool. And it's coming from, I love building, I love old stuff. I like old anything. Right.
Yes.
So it's cool. It's all
Your
weathered.
coffee shop and my vibe, very,
Yeah.
very hand in hand. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I dig it. So it's very cute. And I like what you did here. You got your rolling pins up there, and you got your menus, and you got your little Galt Herald thing framed there from when you guys were featured in the Herald. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah. I got
blessed.
good fond memories of this place.
So other than bread, though, you also do soup. it looks
So
like.
we've been doing soup in the colder months, which has been great.
Yeah, soup is phenomenal.
We're probably going to switch to some salads and stuff when spring hits, and,
Okay.
and do some fun stuff like that just to add something different.
Yeah.
Sourdough's an everyday thing, cookies, cinnamon rolls.
Yeah. So tell us about all the. But before that, I have a couple. I have a couple
Yeah.
bread jokes for you.
Oh goodness! Here we go.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay,
Ready?
Let's do
Ready?
it.
Okay. So I need to wait a second. So all right, my first joke, let me think what they are. All right. Which loaf do you call when you need a superhero? Wonder Bread.
Jesus.
Oh gosh.
All right, last one.
That was
Who
obvious.
is the best baker in Russia? You don't know that?
No.
Vladimir Gluten.
I've had somebody tell me that Sean shouldn't tell jokes.
Those are pretty clever, Sean.
Yeah, I
give
like
you
that. Yeah.
I give you that. That's
All right.
pretty
So
good.
tell us all this. So tell us. So you don't just make bread. Tell us all the things. We mentioned soup, and you mentioned some other things you're going to kind of be doing. But tell us about the items that you do make right now.
So obviously we're primarily sourdough. Sourdough's a big, staple, and we don't just do plain sourdough. We do like 18 plus flavors. So today
18?
yeah,
Really?
well, more than that, but
Wow. I did not know
today
that.
we had 11. So we do, roasted garlic and Parmesan, jalapeno cheese, cinnamon raisin.
You said 18 flavors of sourdough?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah. We do like a
Wow.
double chocolate, artichoke, green chili, like all everything seed, all kinds.
Dan, hand me
So-
that other box that has that other goodies. She brought us some goodies. We want to share them up here on the screen here. We're going to show. So I've only had your regular sourdough so far. I bought some and I bought to use with our with soup and chili and stuff. So here's a box of some various flavors. You can see that in here. And so what kind of flavors are in here? What's
So
this
this
one
is
here?
a bread flight.
Are we
do
are we
these-
back on video or is we still?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, those are her hours for those. Well, hold on. Before we go back to this and you can see this, tell us about your hours. So you're not open every single day right now. There's been some discussion about, I had some people come like, oh, I went trying to new place, but she wasn't open. So you're kind of waiting into the hours right now because you do a lot of baking for orders. So it's not, you do a lot of business. It's not just people walking in.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think what a lot of people don't understand, sourdough is like a 2-day process. So it's not something I can make in the morning and bake in the afternoon. It's fermenting for, 24 hours sometimes. So I'm typically there a good 15, 18 hours on Tuesday doing all of the prep work for Wednesday's bake day. And then I'm baking on Wednesday. And then at the end of baking, I'm doing another round of prep work for Thursday. And then Friday, we're doing, just a partial day. And on the weekends, I still do weddings and I still have 4 kids
You're
that
burning.
need
Yeah.
my
You got
time.
lots of plates.
So,
going,
and Mondays are typically, office days, restocking. And so a lot
absolutely.
of people are like, well, you're only open 3 days. It's like, yeah, but it takes a lot of days to pull those
Right.
3 days
People
off,
have to really
know?
understand what it goes into it. And so when you're a small operation, it's not like you have an army of people.
Yeah.
It's like with us, very family, just family working in our place. And it's people like, well, why aren't you open 7 days a week? It's like we get 1 day off a week.
Yeah.
And then, and a lot of times Heather's running and buying supplies after hours and,
Right.
to run and we have, we get orders of baking supplies and milk and you just don't even understand how many hours goes into outside of business hours, how many hours goes
Right.
into doing stuff. Right.
And primarily it's just me, obviously. And I have my right hand girl, Lacey, who, bless her heart, she's an angel. I couldn't do what I do without her. She came to me when I was at Pop the Bubbly. And when I was getting this space, I said, hey, I'm hiring you. You're coming with me. And she's the best. And so it's just me and her. A lot of people compare it to, a full, I'm like, we're just a little shop. It's just me and her.
Yeah.
And so we're the only ones pulling off what we pull
So
off.
Wednesday, 11 to 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the cool thing is you're open till 6. So like, like for us, we close at 2. So a
Right.
lot of people are like, we can't get in your place because, we go to work before 7 and then you close at 2 and we go home. But, 11 might be, hard for some, but 6 p.m., that's a lot of time there for people to come
Yeah.
visit your place and land from work.
Right. So we do orders on Wednesdays, which for my regular customers who order weekly, it's really simple. The link for ordering is always in my Instagram bio.
Okay.
And a lot of people just go on, they pick their, what they want for the day, for the week or whatever. And then they just walk in and pick it up. They tell us their name. And so that's what we do on Wednesdays. And I usually get there, 4 a.m. most days. So I'm there getting everything
I have to
baked.
say, so look, I have to tell you, I give you props because, we get up, we come to the shop early. When you have a coffee shop, you get to work early. And when I'm driving by and going to work, I see your car and your lights on the bakery. I was like, damn, she's there before us. Every single time you're there before us.
I am the first to arrive and the last
You're the
to
first
leave,
person in the
always.
neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to pull that flyer. We're going to pull that screen down now so we can share some of these we're looking at here. All right. So back to our box here, our box of goodies. So what is this here on the lower left?
So this is a bread flight. So a lot of people, our loaves are a good solid size. They're typically like 1,000 grams,
Okay.
which, most people don't understand that. But
Okay.
so a lot of people like to try smaller ones. So we do this little bread flight,
Oh,
which
nice.
is like 4 little baby loaves,
I like that.
to get a
Oh,
variety.
so somebody can come in and buy this, and they're basically it's like a flight, so
Yeah.
that you can try the different breads, and
Yeah.
and then you like, well, I really like this one, then you can come back and buy more of that
Exactly.
one. And then
So
what's this one
this
here?
has this is a 4 cheese, which it has
that
like
sounds
pepper
good.
jack, Parmesan, cheddar. This is a roasted garlic Parmesan.
Who's
and
going
a
home with
herb.
this box tonight?
I was thinking the same thing. I may have to fight you for it.
Yeah, hey, as long as you don't bring Stretch with you,
Yeah, that's
can't
right.
be 2-on-1.
That's right. They'll beat you up.
We're gonna have to roast you. Maybe we'll just split it up. And what's this
And
one?
then this is a blueberry lemon and then
Ooh.
cinnamon raisin. Yeah.
And
Ooh.
cinnamon raisin.
Yep.
Oh man.
And then we
Yeah.
got some cookies here.
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
love
I
our
saw the
cookies.
cookies.
Yeah.
Saw the cookies.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about your cinnamon rolls.
One of these cookies has like marshmallows and chocolate on
It's
it.
a s'more cookie.
Oh my god, I'm eyeing that
So
one.
you know what? You know what's funny is so a lot of people say like, I don't remember somebody specifically saying this, but I think somebody probably does like, oh, another bakery. Like, we have all these bakeries. You have Summer Street Bakery, we have you, then we have, we have Spawns, and then we have the coffee shop bakery. And it's like, oh, this bakery. But, a lot of the things, I mean, there's a little overlap on some items, but really there's not a lot of overlap. Like, Something Sweet, their specialty, their niches, they do cakes and stuff. That's their
Mhm.
main thing. And they do other things too, cupcakes and
Mhm.
stuff. We don't do cupcakes. We don't do cakes, right? Spawns, their big deal is pies. Their pies are phenomenal, right?
Pies, cookies.
Well,
yeah.
None of us are doing pies. You don't do pie.
Right.
So there's not really, there's some overlap with baking, but not really. We kind of have our own little niches.
Mhm.
And so I think that's why people can say, well, how can that many bakeries survive in like within like a rock's throw of each other? But that's why, because they're
Yeah.
not the same.
When I came to the spot and I obviously saw the bakeries in the area, and I had a girlfriend say, aren't you concerned about that? And I said, not even in the slightest bit, because what I do is what I
Right.
do, what they do is what they do.
Right.
And it's not a competition. It's community over competition,
Yeah.
So we're all doing what we're great at, and
Right.
that's what matters. So
we talked a little bit about by the way, somebody said, don't quit your day job. Comedy's not for everybody. Ha ha, whatever, Matt. Okay. I'm not going to wear your hat anymore just for that.
Can I ask you, with the name Wild Heart Bread Company,
Yes.
where did you come up with that, or how did you come up with that?
So I got a wild heart. I do. I think I live a very wild life.
So did that just come in your head one day? That's the name, or did
It
somebody
did.
throw
I
it?
tossed around a few names, and I wanted it to feel really good. I wanted it to feel like me and what I do as an artist, and everything that I've always tried to create and do as an artist in the last 22 plus years has come from the heart, and it's a lot of wild.
And I think the key there is you keep referring to an artist,
Yeah.
because with photography, that's an art form.
Yes.
Making sourdough bread and
Yes.
and the variety that you make, there's an art form involved
Yes.
with that.
Yes.
So what you do is definitely
I am a true
you
artist
are an
at
artist,
my core.
right?
100%.
In everything you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So I wanted to touch on this a little bit. So, people think there's this misconception that when you're self-employed, like first of all, you're wealthy. Everybody self-employed is rich. Okay. We can make whatever schedules we want. We can do whatever you want.
I'm not
And
gonna let them
so-
sit there. You got to try them, right? You probably try.
The point I would make is that people understand that when you start what you're doing, there's not a misconception. Like, you don't do what you're doing, and we're not doing what we're doing at the coffee shop because we think that that's going to make us wealthy.
Absolutely.
You just don't think that and it's not, and the probability is it's not. Okay. It's just what it allows you to do by being self-employed. For some people that love what they're doing, and this is something that you started as a passion, right? And you made it into an occupation. You do it because you want to be able to do something that you love and have it be a job for you, right? That's the merging of the two things. It's not because you think that like you can make way more money having a bakery than if you just went and worked for someone else. I can tell you that is 100% false.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
And there's a saying going around on, so it's like I would rather work, 24 hours than work a 9 to 5 or whatever. And I think it comes from, you really have to genuinely love what you do in order to work those hours. People say to me all the time, don't you ever sleep? Or how do you do this? How do you
Yeah.
do what you do? And if I didn't truly, absolutely love what I get to do, I wouldn't be able to do it. If I was sitting in a cubicle, some people are made for that life. No, bash to the 9 to 5 life.
yeah.
I knew early on I was not meant.
No,
for the
you know
9
what
to
though?
5
Hey,
life.
I'm going to tell you right now, I could never do that. I mean, we were contractors for years, and I had an office where I sat at my desk and I did estimates and stuff. So I've done work where you're sitting in front of a computer and stuff, but I don't think that honestly, I would never go and work somewhere where I had to sit in a cubicle like in a cube farm. And not to knock people that do that, but I just could never do
Yes.
that. I would literally rather work at like a pizza restaurant. I would seriously, I would just be like, nope, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that.
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need the energy. I need things to be free flowing. I need, conversations with people. I need some music going. I need to come and go as I please. I don't, I work better working for myself.
So you've heard the first phrase baker's dozen, right?
Yes.
Do you know that, why that's, no, it's interesting. Do you know, Dan, you're a
I've
history
heard
guy.
of it before, but
So the baker's, I might get this wrong, so somebody pipe in, but the baker's dozen is where you actually get more than 12. It's like if you buy
13.
Yeah, exactly. You get 13 instead of 12. So they
Yes.
call it baker's dozen because there was something about, I think it was about in case something was wrong with something, they give you 13 case, or one of them was, I'm really stretching my memory here. Something about like maybe because there was a variance in sizes of things. So they give you 13 just to make it, I don't know. If somebody can answer that, but it just popped in my head. I was like, what is the story behind the baker's dozen?
So I have a question. So as someone who's just started a business in Galt within the last, what'd you say, November,
Yeah.
I think was when you
Been about
started.
3 months. Yeah.
So was the city easy to work with, difficult to work with?
Galt's been amazing.
And the community's been supportive.
Galt,
And
the community has been beyond my wildest dreams. Like, I was a little nervous about leaving Lodi, obviously being downtown Lodi.
I mean, that's a big
It's
deal.
a lot of
That
walking
is a
traffic,
big deal,
right?
right?
And I was
Right.
a little nervous about it, but Lodi's got its own vibe and Galt has its vibe. And I am one that definitely prefers a small town
Right.
vibe over a big city vibe any
Mhm,
day.
mhm.
And the support that I've had from this town has blown me away. It makes me emotional 9 times out of 10. When I drive home, I'm
Mhm.
just so grateful. Yeah.
So talking about support, and I just want to bring this up briefly, but I know recently somebody, somebody critiqued you on one of the Finley or one of the social media groups. Okay, we'll just say that somebody, came in and bought a loaf of bread. They said it was a little overdone the bottom or whatever. They went on there and they kind of berated you. It's sad when that kind of stuff. And by the way, you handled that very, very well. I mean,
Sure.
here's the thing. In the world of business, and Dan's a big restaurant guy. He likes to go to restaurants. He always goes, hey, I went to this new place, and he likes to go in there and be like the food critic. You go into a place and there's no such thing as every time you go to some place, it's going to be, I mean, maybe there is, but ideally it's not ideally, but realistically, they're not going to be 100%. There's going to be some day where maybe the employee there is maybe just have some stuff going on in her life. Maybe she's not going to give the smile she usually gives, or maybe the food, is just a little less than it was whatever. There can be small variances because it's food. Things happen. Or if you have a bad experience with customer service or with food or whatever, it's how the business takes care of that thing, how they step up to make good on that is what matters. If I go to
Absolutely.
a restaurant and they bring my food late and I'm like, okay, I was like, actually, this isn't what I ordered. I really wanted no onions or whatever. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And you can tell, they're like, oh, I'm so bad. And then the waitress is stressed. So she goes and you see whatever. And then sometimes it just dominoes, right? Then she's stressed out and then she's acting whatever. And you can see how the wheel, I've had experiences like that, right? But when they come and they go, you know what? We took 10% off your tab. I'm so sorry for that. Or whatever. If they make good on it and they acknowledge and they try to step up, that is the important thing. I'm not going to go and bash
Absolutely.
person. As a matter of fact, when you have a good experience, especially when I have a less than stellar experience and somebody steps up in a big way, I'm more likely to go and say, hey, I went to this place today. You know what? They were great. I'm probably going to give them a phenomenal review just in light of having that, whatever, just because they did that.
Absolutely. It's the principle behind it. It's how you choose to handle it as a human, as a business owner.
Mhm.
You know, there's people, it was unfortunate how it happened. Of course. Did it
Yeah.
sting a little bit? Yes. But I'm also very tough skinned. I'm very empathetic. I'm a lover first, 100%. But I will also be the very first one to stand up for what's right, for people I love, for businesses, because it's how you handle it. And had this person have chosen to come to me and be like, hey, I wasn't, this was not what I thought or whatever, I would have sent her home with 5 loaves of bread and the shirt on my back, right? Because that's
Yeah.
my heart. But to go online and to be hateful and to let it continue for 2 days,
and
right?
and because people don't remember, and Dan and I, you and I have talked about this lots of times. Unfortunately, when you're in a town of small businesses, and Galt, even though we have some corporate stuff, we are very much still a town of small businesses. It is a different, for some reason, and I don't know why this is, but the public seems to hold small businesses to a higher standard than a regular business.
Absolutely.
They'll say like, and they don't realize that if you go critique, a small business, that is going to have a bigger impact, because there might be people, oh gosh, you know what? That's too bad. I was going to go try that place tomorrow too, but you know what? Now maybe I'm not going to do that. It can really impact a business when you leave a very critical. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't have an opinion or people shouldn't be critical and say, but I think you just need to do it in a polite way, and there's a certain way it should be done. But the double standard is when you think, if you have a bad experience at Starbucks, or if you had a bad experience or at Burger King or someplace like that, you could leave the worst review. Oh, I had the worst food ever at Panera Bread.
Right.
The worst sandwich ever. That place is terrible. Do you think that's going to put a dent in Panera Bread's? They're going to have 100 people on the counter tomorrow. It's not going to dent them at all. But a small business, it will definitely hurt.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so what I ask people out there to watch is be mindful of small businesses. Remember, these are people like you and I. These are people that have gambled on the community, gambled like Lindsay here has, rolled the dice to try to make a living in a small town, which is a very, very tough retail and very tough environment. So be kind. I want to say one last thing for you. I know you want to say something, Dan, is there's a saying that I think is very important. It says, criticize in private and praise in public. So for me, if I have a bad experience somewhere, I'll tell my friends, yeah, I don't know. I went that place. I don't know. It wasn't that great. I went there twice, gave them a second chance. I probably wouldn't eat there, but I'm not going to go on Facebook and blast them. I just don't. But if I have a great experience at a place, I'm going to go on Facebook and be like, hey, that place was awesome.
Mhm.
That's just how I roll. So
I also think a lot of times, sometimes what you put out comes back to you 100%. I'm a firm believer in that. And energy doesn't lie. And if you put out constant negativity and you're constantly bashing people, that's going to come back to you. And sometimes that works in your favor. And I will say, as much as it stung and it was unexpected, the way that I was blown away by the support that people that have not even been into the bakery stood up for me.
You said you had customers that came in today. They were like, we came in
today specifically because of that post. I have an inbox full of hundreds of messages that I still have not gotten to. So to me, I look at those things as an opportunity for growth, and everything happens for a reason. And you can take something really dark and ugly, and you can either be dark and ugly back, or you can alchemize it into something really beautiful and light. And that's just how I chose to look at it. It's like, okay, what's the lesson in this, right? Is this an opportunity for me to just love 10 times harder?
Because we're all human,
right?
And it's not. And like you said, you cannot be on your. Nobody in business can be. And I know you mentioned something else to me. You told me today. You said, well, somebody too was like, well, I messaged you. We get a lot of people message us at the coffee shop and they go, oh, I messaged you earlier about whatever to see if you guys were out of such and such pastries before I came in there. When we're on there working and we're working hard and it's super busy, I can't always be checking social media messages and stuff. We don't have like somebody who just sits on social media and answers like on the fly, right? So people have to be cognitive of those things. That someone like you're you're probably not only you're doing all the things you mentioned, but then you also probably doing your own social media
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. And people don't understand that. When I'm in the middle of baking a couple hundred loaves, I can't stop and check my phone and respond to a comment.
Right.
And then when I am done after a 12, 18-hour day, I'm going home to give my kids some attention. And then I'm coming back to do it again. And
Right.
I work, do those things when I can respond wholeheartedly, because it's like you said, it's one person. We're not a big corporation.
Right.
I don't have a social media manager. I'm it,
And some
so-
people will come in like to me and they'll be like, I get a lot of people come into the coffee shop and they'll about city stuff, right? They'll ask me a question. Hey, I interrupt you at work, but I really need to talk to you. And I try to make time for those people all the time. And I do. And sometimes like, okay, well, let me look into that. But it's like, for me, like I'm sitting here, taking maybe like 20 seconds between customers to shoot an email off to the city manager to ask about something important that's happening in the city. And then I'm back to making coffee or serving a pastry to somebody. I work 44 hours a week at the coffee shop. I do all the social media for the coffee shop. I do the social media for this podcast. I put together the shows for the podcast. Dan and I would put together what guests we're going to have on. It's a lot of work to do that. I have my personal, anything personal on the side I do. And then on top of that, I have, a city council seat that I, try to help people. I mean, it's like somebody once says, it's like when you said what all the things you do, it reminded me, it's like, you don't just have a full plate. People say, oh, your plate's full. You have multiple plates and they're all full.
Right.
So you're juggling multiple and they're all full. That's what it is.
Right. And you're
So-
giving your heart to all of them. You're trying your damnedest to not, make this one go without and this go without. And you're just, you do what you can.
I want to give you a live review right now because that's one of the probably best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had.
Awesome. I love that.
Really?
It-
Wait,
oh, it's
give me, I
perfect.
want a cookie.
You know
What
what's
else
nice?
is in
You
there?
know what's good about it? I don't like it's like a little crunchy on the outside, not too crunchy though, but a little crunchy on the outside. But then it's soft.
Yes.
The chocolate is melted, like it just melts, and then it's got the sea.
Dan's
salt
like
on top.
Dan's like a connoisseur
This
over
is
here.
probably one of the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had.
Wow.
We've
It's
heard
like
that
perfect.
many
That's very-
times, and I
A lot
take it.
of times you get a cookie and they're really crunchy or they're really soft,
There's
like they're too soft or
There's
they're.
nothing worse than
like-
a crunch. I like a good soft.
You've
chewy
got a
cookie.
balance here.
I
You've
do.
got a
I
balance.
do
You've
think
got to
that
figure
people.
it
I
out
do
with your
think
cookie,
people
I'll tell
like
you that.
different kinds of cookies. My dad used to like a certain brand of cookie, and I was like, I hate that. It was a store bought cookie, but I think it's people like different kinds
Well,
of.
like, even if you get if you're talking chips, store brand, there's some that are like soft and there's some that are crunchy. This is like just a combination of the perfect cookies.
We
These are
use
so good.
quality butter. I use Ghirardelli chocolate chips. So little
So-
things make a big difference.
So let's
you
talk about
know?
that for a second because the quality of the ingredients that you're using,
Yeah,
and that's not cheap.
it's not.
It's not cheap to
and-
use good quality,
Right, and so a lot.
but
of
it makes a difference.
Right. And a lot of people come in and they're like, oh, $14 for a loaf of bread. And it's like, yes, but it took me 2 days to make it. I'm using organic flour. I do not use, off-brand cheese. I use quality ingredients.
Right.
And that matters to me. And I feel like that was something that I was dead set on not changing. Like that is what I believe sets it apart from the rest.
Right.
And so if I have to pay a little more for ingredients and charge a tad more for it, those who appreciate it are have no problem
So-
buying it.
So
you know?
I got a question about your sourdough recipe.
Yes.
Is this a recipe that is a family recipe?
It's-
Is this something that
It's
you've been making since you were a kid?
No,
or
no.
like, how did you land on that recipe? Because there's probably a lot of recipes
So
out there, right?
sourdough is less about a recipe and more about technique. It's
Oh,
not
okay,
something
okay.
like a following a cookie recipe, right? Sourdough is and I think that's what sparked my interest in learning it.
Hmm.
Was okay, I'm going to figure this out because it's a very scientific thing. You have to learn, the texture of the dough. I mean, when bulk fermentation is done, so it's not like, okay, this is how many grams of water you use and this is how many, because the environment you're in is going to change it. The water you use is going to change it.
That's
There's a lot.
interesting,
There's
yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
different variables that make sourdough what it is. And so, 10 people could be using the same recipe and the loaves would be completely different.
Right,
It's
right.
more a technique than
and,
a
but
recipe.
it's part of that being that artist
it's
and perfecting
these hands
perfecting
touch
that art
it.
form.
Well, I
That's,
think it's
you know-
when people say artisan bread, it's funny. I always see like Panera and places like that go, artisan, that's such a buzzword, right? But really, there is some professions where an artisan is reflective of how much time goes. Have you ever heard the thing about good, fast, and cheap? Ever seen that?
No.
So you take a wheel, take a circle, and you divide it into 3 pieces, and you say good, fast, cheap, right?
Mhm.
In any type of business, regardless of what it is, whether it's bread or if it's like you're hiring an electrician or whatever, you ideally want to try to get 2, but you can't get 3. You're never going to get 3. So if you get good and fast, it won't be cheap,
That's true.
right?
That's
Or if
very
you get good
true.
and cheap, it won't be fast.
I like that. I
Right.
like
So
that.
try to do that combination. It applies to everything. And I think it's good where you say when people are going, oh my gosh, I love bread with so much. Well, yeah, but look how much time it took,
Mhm.
you know? And it's good.
Yeah.
So see, it wasn't fast, but it's really
That's
good.
very
So it's
true.
not going to be cheap.
That's very true.
And so, the other thing is when I first started getting the bread from your place, my wife's like, hey, make sure you don't, you got to eat it within a few days. It's not going to be like store-bought loaf bread that's got like a bunch of preservatives in it. When I'll be honest with you, I have a loaf of bread at my house. I buy pretty good bread at the store. I don't buy like the cheapy, whatever. I buy like, a little bit better stuff. And the other day I went to make like a grilled cheese sandwich and I'm like, oh, I don't remember when I bought this bread. And so I looked it over pretty thoroughly and I don't see any mold or anything on it, right? So I'm like, no. And I'm smelling it, right? I'm like, I think it's good. Then I remembered that I literally had bought that bread probably like 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, Sean.
And I'm like, but that just shows you looking at that bread and you go, what the hell is this bread made of that it could literally survive?
There's probably
that long.
15 additives in
Right.
it. And that's the
Right.
thing.
Yeah,
Sourdough
that's
is
scary.
organic flour, water, and salt. So there's not, it's,
Yeah.
it's going
So
to
I've-
last a good 7 days.
I have
but-
another question about the process and stuff. So sourdough, you see where a lot of people will gift a
Mhm.
starter. Isn't that what it's called? A
Uh-huh.
starter jar of
Yes.
sourdough, and then you feed it, right?
Yes.
And then that's how like, so if I'm at home and somebody gifts me a small jar of starter, then I feed it, which I would feed it flour and more yeast.
Flour
or-
is food for a starter. So
Okay.
basically a starter is just a wild yeast, right?
Okay.
That's how it used to
Hmm.
back in the gold rush days. Like that's where it came from.
Okay.
know?
So there's something that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, sourdough's
Yeah.
not a new bread
No,
either,
no, no.
right? It's been around.
That's
So why
how
do
it was
they
made.
call it sourdough? Where's the word sour come from? Is
So
it
from what I heard, it was back in the gold rush days, they would keep their starter, and then people who took their starter on these journeys were called sourdoughs. Like that's what they used to be called. That's what I heard.
interesting?
Right. And so that's how the name sourdough came
So
about.
do you know why the baker took a second job?
Oh, another joke.
No, I'm serious. Well, she needed the dough.
So another question I have then about the starter, right?
Yes.
Like you also hear or see stories of people where, my grandmother started
Yes,
this
yeah,
sourdough and we've fed it for the
Hundreds
last
of
hundreds of
years,
years.
yeah.
I mean, is that
Yes,
a real thing?
absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
It's basically a living organism, and you're essentially keeping it alive by just feeding it food and water. So you're just, I have my mother starter, which I'm pulling from every
Uh-huh.
day to bulk amounts of starter to make the dough with, right? And so then you're just continuing the process. And then if you want to pause
Wow.
that process, you put it in the fridge. Some people are like so intimidated by it because I want to go on vacation. I don't have time to feed this and maintain it. It's, you can.
So yes, let me ask you that. So if I was to buy a loaf of
It's
bread, can I put it in the fridge? What's the best way to get the lifespan out of that, the maximum?
So I prefer personally just keeping my bread on the counter for, 7 days or so. Usually it doesn't last that long. It's eaten in that time. I feel like when you put it in the fridge, you can prolong it a little bit, but I feel like it dries it out a little bit more.
Okay.
So I like it just at room temperature, and a good 7
Mhm.
days.
Which is why people used to put bread in a bread box.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
they just
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
So,
exactly.
Another question I have is, a lot of people will use sourdough and they'll use it to dip with oil and vinegar.
Uh-huh.
And is that something
Yeah,
you support
it's-
fully?
So
And-
that's actually something I want to do. I actually was thinking I want to do little bottles of some balsamic and some good
Mhm,
quality
mhm.
olive oil, a little seasoning pack, like a little something
that sounds good.
to pick. I do a good lemon rosemary that a lot of people like, and that's what they
Oh,
like
nice.
to dip in
Yeah.
like a balsamic, So yeah.
My wife and I got married last year, and we went to Monterey for our anniversary or honeymoon. And there's a olive oil
Yeah.
place over there, and so we went in and tried it. And my favorite is pineapple. the pineapple vinaigrette, not
Oh.
olive oil, but the vinaigrette of pineapple. But it's crazy because they have all these different oils and all these different vinegars. And, depending if you mix the garlic with this or this
Yeah.
with that, or like the different flavors and
Yeah.
the way it changes
It's
that.
like a
and-
food pairing.
yeah, right. And I
essentially.
think with your 18 varieties or 19
Yeah.
varieties of flavored bread, I think that could get
Yeah.
very interesting as
Yeah.
well.
Some breads are, sweet. Some are great for like toast and cream cheese. Some are good to make a grilled cheese out of. Some are good just by themselves. Some
Yeah.
are great with pasta and meat.
And then
Everyone.
what about like a bread bowl?
Oh yeah, we
for
do bread bowls too with
Yeah,
our
yeah.
soup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the soups.
It's really
Oh.
good.
Yeah,
It's
her
really
soups.
bomb.
The soup. What's the
so
soup?
good.
What's the soup? What are just a couple of the soups that you've made recently? I can't remember what they were, but I had them.
So primarily we do like a good lemon pepper chicken.
That's the one I had, yep.
Oh,
Kale,
man.
veggies, a tomato chicken broth.
You know what's one of my favorite soups that I can't remember where I used to get it, but they made a tortilla soup.
That's a good
um,
one.
Yeah, that's I mean, just
Minestrone,
throw that out there.
Yeah.
things like that, homemade, where it's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Like we were talking, the good ingredients.
Yes. Good quality
Mm.
ingredients. You could taste it. You could taste the love in food.
Yeah.
So if
food's-
someone
food's a
wanted to
love
try your
language.
soup, is it kind of like, hey, we're gonna have soup? It's not a consistent menu item, right? It's like we're gonna have soup. So should they watch your social media for days you're gonna have soup, or how would they know when to
So
come and
we've
try the soup?
been doing it every Thursday to try and
Okay.
keep it consistent.
So every Thursday, if you want to try soup after 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
right? So if you want to come out at lunchtime, right,
Yeah.
noonish,
Mhm.
and try her soup, come in, try it out.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So
Yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah.
would be soup day.
Yeah. Tomorrow's
Ooh,
soup day.
All right,
Yeah.
you know what?
Do we have any idea what?
I think we're doing chicken vegetable tomorrow.
All right, you know what?
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
I'm having
All right.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk around and get
All
that tomorrow
right.
for sure. Yep,
And when
yep.
you were asking about all the process of sourdough and stuff, I wanted to mention we're going to start doing bread classes in
Oh,
February.
nice.
So we did.
how to make.
Yeah, it's a really fun time. So I did a lot of them when we were in Lodi.
I saw
and
that. I saw that on your social media. I was
Yeah.
looking at your social media today. You did a bunch of stuff like classes, and they
Yeah.
filmed you doing some
Yeah,
stuff.
we
and
were on Good Day Sac.
that's right.
and
That's what it
yeah,
was. Yeah, you're on Good Day
we
Sacramento for
actually,
that.
yeah. So
Well, and where you're at, you've got a nice little area off to the side
Yeah,
that you can
so-
have that class in. And
yeah, so when we were in Lodi, it was obviously a much bigger space, and we did typically 30 to 40 people at a time. So it was a big
Wow.
event. So it was a great time. Come with your girlfriend, have a cocktail, learn how
Yeah.
to make bread. It's a really fun
Ooh.
time. Obviously, my space over there is much more intimate and
Mhm.
small, so it'll be more like 10 to 12 people to fit around my big farmhouse
Yeah, but that's
table over
good
there.
though. That's good to have like
Yeah.
like a little smaller
Yeah.
group where it feels more intimate.
And
Yeah.
it's a fun experience. I think sourdough's a very like hands-on experience, and sometimes the internet can overcomplicate it way too much to it where
Yeah.
it scares people. And when you're just in a position to where you can feel the dough and see what it's like when you first mix it versus when you shape it and
right.
all of that, and then when they come, they get a bread basket and a starter and a loaf of bread and
See, that would be almost fun for like a bachelorette party
yeah,
or
yeah.
You know,
some kind of a birthday
what's
party
funny
or
is
celebration or something too.
what you're doing. I mean, we're in 2026, right? And what you're doing, although I'm sure that some technology has changed, or whatever, but you're basically making bread, right? Something that has been done for literally like thousands of years. Like go back to like biblical times. Bread was like,
right.
you break bread with someone, right? It's like the saying. It's like bread was like a main thing. You eat this and that, but you had bread. Bread was just like, oh, and I break a chunk off and have bread. It's been bread is like such a staple of the human, the food group, right? That we as humans eat. And how much really from like, 1000 AD or 1000, BC to now, it probably hasn't changed as much as people think.
Right.
Like this process of making bread, right? That's
Well,
interesting.
And that's kind of where the term artisan comes from in my mind. So I rebranded when I obviously moved here, but my name prior was Artisan Arts Bread.
Okay.
And the idea behind that was keeping like art as the center of what I do, but keeping like the true rooted, like traditional way of making bread, like the artisan way. And just keeping it simple, I
Yeah,
feel
you
like-
mentioned your photographer. You know what's fun is I often thought about buying a nice camera and just taking pictures. I don't have the time to do that now, but maybe when I have more time in the future, free. But I like taking photographs. I like taking like a lot of automotive pictures because I'm into cars and stuff, but like taking really artsy like car pictures and stuff, whatever. But I always thought about just buying a camera and just carrying it around when I go places and take pictures and stuff. So It's interesting that you like doing that.
I love it. I've done it since I was 20 years old,
You know,
and I'll do it as long as I can.
Your
so.
your arm, your left arm there. That's an art canvas
Yes,
there. It's a piece of
yes.
work there too. You know.
Yeah,
So there's
I
a lot
like-
of art.
I am
sense
I
that
am
you
an
know how to
art.
get that, yeah.
So we have a customer, Harry Winslow. He's one of our longtime viewers. He's asking, do you ever do anything like clam chowder?
Clam chowder. I have made it in the past.
Maybe sometime in the future, maybe
yeah,
possible.
yeah,
Possible. There you go, Harry.
We're kind of
Possible.
getting out of soup season here, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but By the way, Harry, you still need to come by the shop, pick up your shirt you won. We still have it. I have it at the coffee shop for you, so you can come by anytime and I have it. So
This Feline Roxy, whoever this is, she's got a lot of sweet things to say.
Yeah.
So thank you.
yeah.
I just am blown away by the support and the love of everyone. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming. I'm
Well, that's what
so
makes small
grateful.
town. You know what? Honestly, look, I tell people this, and it sounds cliche, but small business is really the heart of a small town. It's the
Absolutely.
heartbeat of a small town. You know, it's not exactly like that anymore, but back in the day, in like say your dad and my dad, when they both went to high school here, you would go down through Galt and every business was a mom and pop business. And you'd have the guy out at Steiner's Market, you know, Mr. Steiner sweeping the sidewalk. You'd have, you know, so-and-so, and they're the owners and they were out there and they were taking care of they were the people that you went in there and you met. The owner was the person you dealt with. I feel like there's a little bit of that still. Like, you know, you can come by at any certain time maybe and you see me out sweeping leaves or blowing leaves. I'm not sweeping, I'm probably using a leaf blower, but in the front of my place, you'll see, you know, maybe somebody would come by and maybe you'd be out front, maybe watering your little plants in the front.
Mhm.
I still feel like there's still a semblance of that, and I feel like, you know, as long as Galt still has that we still are going to be a small town. People like to say, oh, we're not a small town anymore, whatever. But you have to understand what makes Galt a small town. It's not the actual size of the town.
Right.
It's not the actual population number. It's really not. It's the other things that make us a small town. It's our businesses that we have. It's our little community events. It's the people, all these community crab feeds and all this little small town stuff that we do. That is the stuff that makes us a small town.
Right. Right. There's so many people that come in that, you know, are my age and say that they grew up here and they moved away and they came back and now they're raising their family here. And it's because when you grow up with a small town rooted place, like those are the things that hold meaning. You know,
Right.
it's not the
Well-
Starbucks on every corner. It's what you remember in a small town.
And
you know?
and you know, being a small town bakery, you know, which, you know, I mean, that was if you go to a lot of European towns or cities, you know, you'd go to the bakery to get your bread, then you'd go next door to the
Yeah.
meat market
Yeah.
to get your meat, and you
Yep.
might go to the fishmonger to get some fish, or
And they would buy
Like-
bread that
like it was
wasn't
all specific. You
the
know,
bread
it
wasn't
wasn't
expected to be to
Right.
last 2 weeks. You know,
Right.
they probably expected to last that no, but
right. Every
yeah,
every
but-
day or couple
yeah.
days you'd go to the market, and that
people
was
would
one
buy
thing you had
stuff
to do, and-
to make food for that day. They would go buy meat, vegetables, and bread and things and go home and they'd make
Right.
those meals. People didn't buy things to last. People didn't go grocery shopping to buy food for 2 weeks in advance so they could go home and put it in their refrigerator, which, you know, they have refrigerators till a certain time in history, right? So, I mean,
you're continuing something that's been going on
Yeah.
for forever,
Yeah.
and you're doing it in a beautiful setting. You're doing it, you know, you've got a great design, a great, you know, name, a great, I mean, the quality of the food is amazing.
Thank
And
you.
so I think,
Thank you.
you know, I wish you all the best. I hope you're around for
Yeah.
long time to come
stay
still.
as long as
So-
I can without outgrowing the space.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Well, it could get to that, but I can tell you, so when we moved from your space, we really loved that space. I think for us, the catalyst of moving that space was that it was a little different dynamic for us because we had Starbucks moved in, and then the second Starbucks moved in, and then Dutch Brothers moved in. And look, and I, as part of the city, you know, I embraced those businesses. I didn't say, oh no, we don't want those because it's going to compete with my own coffee shop. I mean, that's capitalism. That's just the American
Yeah.
way, right? And so what you have to do, I believe this is I would tell anybody this, you know, there's no such thing. You should never expect to have a monopoly on something. What you do is there's always going to be competition at some point. What you need to do is you need to just change your business to make your business. That's just a chance for you to step up and make your business special in a certain way. For us, we didn't have a drive-through. We were never going to have a drive-through, but we also didn't have a great dining room because the place was small. We had like 2 tables. So we're like, we're never going to have a drive-through. So we need to create a experience, a dining room that someone can come and sit down and have coffee and have a certain feel and a vibe that they're not going to get at Starbucks or Dutch Brothers. And that's why we end up moving to that space. It was a huge gamble on our part, only being in business 2 years, but we rolled the dice and we worked over a year super hard right before COVID, building that place. And then COVID started and we had to do all the shutdowns and all that stuff. But, but that's a great space. I do miss that spot. I have fond memories there.
Well, you guys have done an amazing job on making your space very cozy.
Well, thank you.
When you walk in, the environment is, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
You want to stay in there. And,
It's nice about, your shop and your business. So you're not going to worry about like a San Francisco bread company or whatever they are. That
Well,
they're going over there.
maybe it could
moving
happen,
into Galt
but
anytime soon. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of people out there that we get a lot of people that come to our coffee shop that I've never seen before. Maybe never will see again. They're just passing through and they're like, we're not from here. We're just passing through. But we specifically look for the small boutique coffee places or the small boutique restaurants, stuff like that. They avoid corporate places specifically. There is a massive amount of people that do that.
yeah, absolutely.
And I think as long as those people are out there and they're doing, they're doing that, and we love those people. Thank you very much. As long as those people exist, I think there's always going to be a chance for the small.
With your variety of flavors, is there anything that should never go into sourdough bread, or you would like?
I mean, I'm sure there's some wild flavors out there that would be,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because people come up with some
Yeah.
creative ideas,
I
and
mean,
some
you
of them
can
you look
put-
at and go, I don't know if I'd try that.
I've seen some, especially on Instagram, you see some crazy reels where
Yeah.
they
Wow.
put all kinds of stuff in, In February, we do like a pink loaf, which is really fun. I just use like dragon fruit powder.
Oh, nice.
Really? And it's pink?
It doesn't change the flavor, but it makes it pink. And so kids
Wow,
I've
obviously
never
love it. They're
seen
like,
that.
I want my pink bread,
Huh.
So we'll be doing that all February, and that's
Nice.
really fun. So
Nice.
yeah, we just try and do fun seasonal
Yeah.
stuff just to keep it exciting and, keep everyone just excited for what's next. And I think you just got to keep pouring something new into it.
Well, we're at 8:16. I don't think we're going to take an intermission. So if you
That's
don't
fine.
mind just hanging around for a few more minutes, Lindsay, we're
Yeah.
just going to cover a couple sports scores and some closeout stuff. And we're just going to keep you on till the end and sign off here in a few minutes. Because I told you I didn't know. It's like sometimes we just talk and we get into these great conversations, and sometimes 15 minutes can be longer. So we do appreciate you, being willing to stay
Well,
longer
I'm
than what we
honored.
first.
I'm
Yeah.
honored to be here, and I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, it's been really cool talking to you. I actually can think of all kinds of other things that we could. So we'll have to have you back sometime.
And,
in the future.
I've had a business in Old Town. We used to have an antique store on the corner.
yeah,
Oh,
right
yeah?
there where the
So
salon
I
is.
understand.
Oh, really?
I understand
Yeah.
this.
I love
It was
pulse of
called.
this
It was
part of
called.
town,
It
and
was called then again to antiques.
then
Oh,
again
yeah.
antiques. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
But
a
I
good
think
antique
that
store.
I think you're a great addition to Old Town, and I think you're a great addition to the pulse of what makes Old Town.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. I feel blessed, and I'll continue doing what I do for as long as it's needed. Yeah.
So we're going to cover a few sports scores. I want to thank Jason Smith for sending us these. We want to make sure we get these in. Basically, we have girls soccer. This is Galt High School girls soccer versus Bradshaw Christian. So varsity tied 2-2, and the JV played Rosemont, and they tied 1-1. So wow, that's kind of funny. 2 ties. The Liberty Ranch girls played Amador. They won 3-1, and the varsity won 9-0. So a very
Wow.
handy win for varsity. So congratulations, Liberty Ranch. On the Galt High School boys soccer, they played Bradshaw. JV won 5-1. Varsity won 10-3. Nice victory there. And the Liberty Ranch boys soccer played Amador, and the JV won 6-0, and varsity won 13-1. And then in the basketball, we have boys basketball. Galt played Rosemont. JV was 71-45. JV been doing great.
JV's doing really
Yeah.
good at Galt High this year
Uh,
for both boys and girls.
And varsity won 56-49. So congrats to them. Liberty Ranch was played Union Mine. The freshmen lost 63-45, but the JV, the varsity won 67-65. It was a close game. And then the JV actually lost their game 54-51. Very close loss. And then let's see, I think there's one more. Then we have girls basketball. JV won 34-12.
That's
Varsity
Liberty
won,
Ranch still.
this is girls basketball, Galt High School.
Okay.
Galt High School played Rosemont. So the girls from Galt High won 34-12. Varsity won 44-20. So two really handy wins right there for Galt. And Liberty Ranch 49-12, 62-39. That's a huge number. 49-12. Wow. 49-12 in basketball. That is a whooping right
I think
there.
Liberty Ranch's girls basketball team is undefeated in the league right now.
Wow, that is crazy.
And they are the reigning section champions. And so, the hope is that they'll repeat as section champions again this year.
So good job, girls. Good job, and good job to all the teams we just mentioned. And if you have a sports score or something, like I said, send it to us. We'll talk about it on the air. So, did I tell you that I went out to Thornton today to work?
No.
I went out and did a phone job out of this place called Conservation Farms. They like work out there in the preserves with a bird. And it's like Staten Island. So it's where Staten Island is out there. And I'm in this office, a little tiny office, and there's, working on some phone work in there. This guy walks in, he goes, "Hey man, how's it going?" And it's Jared Dixon, football coach.
Yeah.
That's where he works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a small world.
Huh.
Yeah. So
Dad used to go pheasant hunting out there at Staten Island.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy amount of bird. It's a whole different world out there. Actually, you drive down this dirt road, and it's awesome. Well, we want to remind everybody to tune in next week. We are going to have someone from the Lions Club on talking about all the great things that the Lions Club of Galt does a lot of stuff in the community. Just going to throw that out there. They are a force for sure. And so we're going to have a representative from Lions Club on talking about them. And the week after that is when we're going to have our special guest, Leticia Ordez, the Channel 3 news anchor, who, for those of you who don't know, she was Galt High School alumni. She graduated Galt High School. And not only is she a news personality, but she also writes children's books. So we're going to bring her on, talk about her authoring the children's books, talk about her experience coming from a small town into the big world of television. And then we have the week after that, I don't know who I guess, but at the end of the month, we have Sacramento County Supervisor Pat Hume. So we have some really good big guests coming up. I mean, won't be like Lindsay, of course. Won't be talking about cool pastries and breads and things, but it'll be different conversations and it'll be fun. And we look forward to those. So make sure you guys tune in. I do want to thank our sponsors, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. And I want to let people know that we do have a couple sponsorship openings. We have a couple sponsors who have been supporting us for over a year. And these are all small businesses. Some of them can't always afford to continue to do it. So we've had a couple openings come up. So if you are interested in supporting our show, contact me. It's very inexpensive, and you can get your name on the wall, and we'll give you plugs. Give your name out there. We'll also share all your social media. We try to share all our sponsor social media onto our social media and share their events and do all that. So if you're interested, reach out to us at greatamericanlittletown@gmail.com. So thank you to Galt Chamber of Commerce, Velvet Grill and Creamery. Thank you to Velvet Grill for sponsoring us over this last year. We appreciate you guys. Chandler Gross Group, Frontier Performance Lubricants, River Rock Brewery, Parker Realty, Casey Boyd and her folks here in the front of our building, an insurance office, NorCal Spreading, Azevedo Quality Harvesting, Mr. Sean Farrell, Spawn's Cookie Company, Ward Engineering, Best Western of Galt, Next Generation Barbershop. Thank you, Mark Jackson, for supporting us over this last few months. King Sound Productions, American Paving Systems, Laheim of Galt, Moriscos Las Islitas, and Electric Hero Studio. Thank you. Those are all small businesses at all. Not one of those is a corporate business.
Yeah.
These are all small businesses that support our podcast because they believe in what we do and they like that we engage the community and have local guests and small business owners on. So thank you very much to all of you for sponsoring us. We appreciate you.
Yep. And what I would say is, if you're looking for, some bread or cookies or soup, tomorrow between 11 and 6, head down to
tomorrow's soup day
Heart.
at Wild Heart at 411 C Street. And you want to check out some of our cookies, which are phenomenal. Some of our breads. I'm not going
to regret it. Those are good.
Yeah. Come check her out. Support small business. And just want to thank you again, Lindsay. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was fun.
Thank
you.
Yeah,
very, very fun.
Yeah.
We love having new business owners.
Yes.
So from all of us at the Great American Little Town podcast, thank you for giving us your Wednesday evening. For those of you watching after tonight, we hope we have an entertaining show. And we will see you all next week.
Share. What is it? Like, share,
subscribe.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ruben. Thanks for tuning in, Ruben. We'll see everybody next week. Thank you. Good night.
Two guys on the mic, Sean and Dan, talking small town life where it all began. God's got charming stories to spare, From the city news to the country air. The great American little town, where the news is small, but the pride's profound. Grab a coffee, sit back, it's all going down on the great American little town. Sports scores, local clubs, and a parade. Dan cracks a joke, Sean throws some shade. Local gossip and a heartfelt cheer. It's God's heartbeat right here. The great American little town, where the news is small, but the pride's profound. Grab a drink, sit back, it's all going down on the great American little town. Sean and Dan with the hometown spin. Tune in weekly and you're all in. The great American little town.